Babela Maya, who was the head of the Chicano Studies, it wasn't a department, but section of the history department. That was critical because it was through Abel that I started meeting other Chicano students there and became a part of UMAS, the United Mexican American Students. We were 250 Chicanos maybe out of a population of 11,500. And we represented a much greater number within the population of the state of Colorado at the time. But again, we weren't given the opportunities for getting in. And so entrance to college became an obvious thing for us to work on. The war in particular was incredibly important to me because of the experience I'd had in California. And indeed, I went on to become a fairly central leader in the anti-war movement at Colorado State University in 71 and 72. It was in spring of 72 that as part of a national day of manifestation and protest that a dozen of us or so took over the ROTC building for the Reserve Officer Training Corps. That's what ROTC stood for. And these were mini factories for officers in the university to train them to go off to the war. To, in our opinion, kill more innocent Vietnamese in a war that we thought had no justification whatsoever. So we took that building over that spring. But when we did, we were part of a movement that took over ROTC buildings throughout the country in scores of universities. We were not alone. And I would say that it was that day and that push by 72 that really won the war, because by that time it was very clear to Nixon and the rest of the country that the war could not go on. That was instrumental in my life because that was a sentinel event in proving to myself that we could do it, that if we made the effort and if we tried, that we could make a difference. We could turn people out. We could turn the clock in a different direction, and social change would become more than words, but could become a reality. Very clearly in the early 70s, late 60s, if you were a young Chicano radical at the university, there was only one thing that was important to us, and that was getting back to your community to be a community organizer and really change the conditions under which we were living and the things that were going on around us.